I thought I knew what Doom was. Doom the Dark Ages doesn't fit that image at all. It has a shield. It has parries. You move slowly, deliberately. But it's not this Doom Eternal sequel that has it wrong. It was me. Far from a safe sequel, this radically shifts what you would expect from Doom, but in a way that, well, feels a hell of a lot like Doom. Game director Hugo Martin explains it to me succinctly. You feel aggressive always in Doom. If you don't feel aggressive, it doesn't feel like a Doom game. Doom the Dark Ages Source Shield is more than just a new option. Going hands-on with the game, I'm constantly using it, constantly thinking about it. But one thing it isn't is something to cower behind. When you raise your shield, it's to allow you to charge headlong into danger. When you parry, it's to knock enemies off kilter before hitting them with some of the hardest hitting weapons ever conceived. You might move slowly and deliberately compared to Doom Eternal, but it's always with purpose. You're not in danger, you are the danger. Doom the Dark Ages is, I'm told before my demo, built around the concept of stand and fight, and every moment I'm directly in control of the Doomslayer lives up to that. Taking hits and dealing them back twofold is the most aggressive Doom has ever felt. The Dark Ages is recognisably still Doom, or as Martin says, it's not new but still Doom. It's new but more Doom. But a myriad of tweaks and evolutions shifts just about every element of this third game of the Modern Era series to stand strong by itself. That's very much by design. Just as Doom Eternal took what worked in Doom 2016 and hypercharged it to add loads more weapon options and hyper-quick platforming, this is just as different again. The Doomslayer has always been about aggression, but even here the purposes behind his wrath have been recontextualised. Dialing back the clock, Doom the Dark Ages is set before the previous two games, with the Doomslayer mind-controlled into serving the ends of gods. On a leash for Creed Maker, dropped into conflicts from an orbital spaceship at their discretion like a warhead ready to explode on Hellspawn incursions. It's the Doomslayer's Dark Ages, and one for the galaxy at large as the legions of hell grow in strength, not about Earth's Dark Ages. The opening hours lean more heavily into the lore of Doom than ever before, bringing to life a lot of elements referred to in Doom Eternal's Codex pages. Environments feature plenty of stone Gothic architecture and wooden churches with a tactile feel to stomping around them, but expect to see plenty of lower third place names about the planets the Doomslayer is unleashed upon. It's sci-fi to the max. The opening section has me ripping and tearing through a village under attack, but still ends with a laser turret section. On a controller, holding the left trigger raises the shield saw, able to soak a certain amount of damage before it begins to charge up its strength again. A tap of the left bumper above instead hurls the shield, blades spinning to cut through enemies, sticking into any larger targets it finds and stun-locking them into place. When on the move, you'll frequently have the shield up, but this can also aid in mobility as well as defense. Reticules will appear on enemies, and on some nodes, which you can then shield charge towards to quickly close the distance, whether that's to keep you away from strong demons, zip up to meet an enemy shooting down at you from a barricade, or to uncover a secret. As powerful as throwing the shield is, you'll feel slightly depowered after it leaves your hands, meaning you have to weigh up the risk and reward and adapt your strategy around hurling the deadly disc. While there's no double jump this time around, you quickly stop noticing it. Clicking the stick to sprint feels like a natural substitute as the game embraces horizontal conflict. And you're not the only one with enhanced defensive capabilities. Enemies too now pack shields and armour. Again, at first glance, I was worried this wouldn't feel all that Doom, but in play, it doesn't feel like it makes enemies spongier. Rather, it adds a new layer of action when it comes to taking them on. Hit them with a barrage of damage and their metal shields and armour will glow red, making them brittle enough for a shield throw to shatter them into pieces, distributing a wave of damage in the area. That means when you open up one shield-carrying foe up to smash, the chain effect will allow you to take out whole groups in just a couple of throws. Likewise, in a later, more open-ended level, some combat zones have leader demons who are completely immune to damage until a morale meter is depleted. Rather than frustrating, this keeps you aware of an ever-present danger as you zip around mopping up foes to make them vulnerable, essentially ensuring these particular encounters are paced in a way where you're always clashing with the baddest demon at the very end. I've spoken a lot about the shield, but the guns are, of course, back and as inventive and exciting to unload into the nasty faces of hell than ever. Crucially though, the shield is ever present, something you think about even when you're choosing what gun to use next. The super shotgun, for example, does immense damage at close range, so why not use a shield charge to get close to a foe before unloading the clip? Less emphasis has been placed on using the correct weapon for each demon than in Doom Eternal, the shield instead giving you lots of ways to get creative with your playstyle to unleash damage. This feeds into upgrades. For instance, fill a foe with nails and whack them with a throw to turn them into a pincushion damaging nearby enemies. Or, alternatively, shoot them with nails as the shield saw whirs inside of them to ricochet blasts all around. Melee has also been expanded and is now a core part of combat you'll be using a lot more than, say, the chainsaw. Serving a similar function, each melee hit of an enemy will spill out ammo to collect, expanding a charge of energy. The starting gauntlet, for instance, has 3 charges, whereas the later mace only has 1, but hits much harder, with flails and others in between. But rather than just working around expending this energy and moving on until you hoover up more charge or enough time elapses, melee is built into aggressively charging into enemies. Because, yes, if you remember, Doom the Dark Ages has parries. A lot of parries. Whether it's an Arachnotron shooting out a wave of attack orbs in your direction with 1 green orb among them, or a cyber demon ready a whip that glows green, this colour always means that you can use a shield to whack them back to the sender with a satisfying gong-like thwong. Reverberating out from that knockback will be a shockwave of energy that hits enemies but also charges up your melee. Which means, yeah, you can stand and fight. Cyber Demon tries to hit you, you bonk it back, hit it with a flail, then do the same before finishing it off. No need to run and gun. Just plant your feet and bring the pain there and then. There's a real satisfaction to the rhythm of parrying and meleeing here, and that's before we even get to the shield runes that can enhance that further, not included in my demo. We've got 4 different shield runes, Martin tells me. One of them is like a shoulder-mounted turret. The other is like a series of ethereal daggers that come flying out, you know, and does AoE damage and targets enemies in the space. So far, it's a great loop, but it does come at the cost of some of the old systems, most notably the revised glory kills. What used to be an epic kill moment now feels a bit limp in comparison to parrying and dedicated melee. No longer always locking you into place, they now happen in real time from any angle, but that can sometimes amount to feeling like you just kick an enemy before they crumple. I always appreciated the high impact, quick animations of the glory kills in the last 2 games, so it's a shame they feel less satisfying here. Though it's hard to grumble when this new element almost supersedes it at times. You're not always standing and fighting just as the Doomslayer on the ground though. We wanted to put mechs in the game, says Martin about Doom Eternal, which teased many gigantic demon titans and Atland mechs. It had a real sense of scale, making you feel tiny in the middle of some absolutely massive environments. This time around you get to jump into an Atland itself to pilot one of the honking gigantic mechs. Doom the Dark Ages doesn't feature multiplayer like Doom Eternal, centering on the campaign itself, and both Hugo Martin and executive producer Marty Stratton tell me ditching the live service element allowed them to free up resources to bring the Atland sections, as well as the Dragon sections, to life. They're not just cheap gimmicks, we approach them as almost a game within itself, notes Stratton. My hands-on with the Atland mech is brief, amounting to little more than a few hallways where combat is tutorialised. There's a heft to both your and enemy movements, which makes sense because of their size. Most encounters here are built around perfect dodging green parry style blows to supercharge your offense and finish them off, though you can also glory kill as usual. Exchanging blows and gunfire feels very lightweight compared to your on-foot arsenal, and the sense of scale that's impressive when you're on the ground is lost, feeling more like you're looking at a battlefield of Warhammer minis. I'm not sold by these sections yet, but there's more than this in the full game, so hopefully it can strike a better balance on release. It might come as no surprise then that my favourite parts of Doom the Dark Ages are the bits where you get to properly play as the Doomslayer, and less so the parts where that's more radically changed. But what does come as a surprise is just how different Doom the Dark Ages feels from what I'd expect from Doom, while still feeling extremely Doom. While I'm yet to be charmed by every departure, every addition to the core loop feels like an amazing idea that I would never have thought would work for Doom in a million years, but feels so natural to play here. We always want to make a different game, says Martin. Nothing we do is necessarily a reaction to what we did before. If Doom the Dark Ages can pull it off, it might join our best FPS games list. But what do you think about Doom the Dark Ages? Do you like these changes? Will you be picking this game up? Let us know in the comments and stick with GamesRadar for the latest previews, reviews and more.